Hello and welcome to Mission Possible, a portal where energetic insight meets healing and conscious evolution. I'm Amanda Korger, and I have with me my beautiful business partner, Angela Shakti Sparks, and together we are Heart Magic Healing. And we invite you into this space with us today to be open mind, open heart, listen, and invite in any guides or angels that you feel called to help you recognize which messages are best for you from this podcast. And with that, I will pass it over to Angela to share our theme.
All right. Thank you, Amanda, and welcome. So today's theme is all about slowing down to speed up. So as we record this, it's February 9th, and we are about to move into that fire horse year here on the 17th. And it came to me, a funny image came to me the other day, is like the importance of slowing down and really pausing before we take actions. It's going to be the difference between riding your horse this year or getting drugged behind it and flailing around. What was the image that came to me? So very important. Yeah, slowing down to speed up. All right, Amanda, anything that's coming to you right now to share around this?
Yeah, I will say, I will start with, I can definitely feel the energy beginning to pick up pace. And one of the things that I have noticed in myself and in some of my family members is that we're beginning to notice the challenges potentially in grounding, or the need to maybe focus more on ensuring that our energy is grounded and centered. I think one of the ways this has showed up for me is I've been feeling a lot of energy in my mind, and sometimes it might come through as distractions. Sometimes it feels like I'm being pulled in multiple directions at once. And just that reminder of coming into the body is definitely what I've noticed. Like, I know I had my family over the weekend. I was like, there is so much going on. And I said, we need some time in nature. And did I get some resistance from my children? Yes, especially one of them. They definitely resisted. And yet I also always see the benefit too. And so I kind of showed him, I used it as a lesson for my son. He was really resisting it as we were out on the walk. And he's like, can we turn around yet? Can we turn around yet? And I'm like, no. And I finally told him, I said, you know what? The more you resist this, I'm just going to keep adding on. We're going to walk farther. And needless to say, that definitely helped him begin to be more open to it and begin to notice. I could see it start to shift in his energy. He suddenly became curious about some birds that were nearby and everything. And watching how the energy shifted by being out in nature and helping us come back to our centered, grounded state. Angela, what's coming through for you right now?
Yeah, you mentioned embodiment, and I think that is really important. And, a lot of times we do live up in our thoughts and in our head, and it's so important to come down. That's part of your nervous system regulation, is when you're up there, when your energy's up here and you're not grounded, that creates that frazzled, scattered energy. So, being embodied. And a lot of people, again, talking about resistance too, I've noticed a lot of people have resistance to that because we get used to that being in the thinking mind and just always spinning in the thoughts. And so sometimes it's not comfortable to come down into the body. But once you do and really start to ground and center and and you can do this through the pause, right? So we've talked, I think, recently in some of our other podcasts and other things we put out, is this pause, but it's really a powerful thing. It really helps you come to that still point, and it helps with that embodiment. It helps you come back into your body, just taking a moment. And you can start with your external awareness. In fact, I always start my yoga classes this way, and a lot of our meditations too, is just first noticing the space that's around you. And that can also help your nervous system feel safe, which will also help with the grounding and centering. That you just notice, and maybe here, do it right now. Feel your feet connecting or feel the surface you're sitting on, and maybe close your eyes or just have a soft gaze. And then just listening to these words that we are saying here, starting to breathe, starting to notice the space that's around you. So just becoming more present in the moment. And notice, see if you can notice how already, just by doing that, it starts to bring in a little bit more peace and calm.
Beautiful. Yeah, taking that pause. And I'll say, I have definitely noticed as I have felt like things are starting to pick up, I have had those moments where I really desire the quiet. I don't want any of the like, and I had a moment yesterday where I had been a lot of outward, and then I got to a point where I could pause, and I went and sat on the porch. It was beautiful outside here, and I had a moment where it was nothing. I didn't want to look at my phone. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I wanted just to soak up the sun on our porch and just be in that quiet and give my body a chance to regulate itself. Like, we are going to have moments, and we're always going to have moments where we need to be in that outward energy. But I think a lot of it is, how can your nervous system recover? And so for me, it was, taking those moments of just quiet, no stimulation, and just be.
Yeah, I love that. I love, one of my favorite times is my meditation time in the morning, where I do that. It's like my time. Sometimes I do like to listen to some guided meditations, but other than that, it's that sacred time. And however, as Amanda, you were saying that, what came to me is also learning to be able to find that calm when you are out and about in the world. So last night, there was a football game on. My husband was watching the game on television, and for some reason, I just felt called to pause and breathe. So I closed my eyes. I had my hands to my heart, and I was just taking some slow breaths and just doing that to get my surroundings, but didn't let it, I just let it kind of be background. And I just focused on my breath, and I felt I was so calm and peaceful, even though there's this game and people, cheering and the announcers talking, but I felt so peaceful and calm with it. So I think a balance of those, right? The time to recharge, but also you can use that pause to find that center, find even some nervous system regulation and calmness when you are out and about.
Yes, absolutely. I'll say, I know my kids have experienced this enough now that they have begun to notice, like, oh, mom's feeling into something. And they'll, part of it for sure is I close my eyes. Closing my eyes helps me tune in to my body, and kind of tune out whatever is in my surroundings. And so I tend to close my eyes and put my hands on my heart. And my kids have picked up on this, and they're like, okay, let mom be. She's feeling into something, and she'll be back with us in a moment.
Yep.
So taking those moments of no stimulation, you practice in those quiet. And as you practice, and gain that connection with your body, then it becomes easier to do when there is things going on around you, like Angela said with the game, or how my kids can pick up. Like, I might be standing in the kitchen with my eyes closed and my hands on my heart, and my kids are like, "Oh, yep, don't talk to mom right now. She's focused."
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and another time, thinking about that, I do the breathing, but also humming is a really powerful tool as well. That I think it's such a simple thing, but it can really calm your nervous system, bring you down. I will use humming when I'm driving. I used to get very like on edge driving. It's like people come too close to my car, or certain driving habits of other people that like would put my body on edge. And so I would use humming in those situations I would just hum, repeat it, just breathe in through the nose, and then just a long, slow hum on the exhale. And that is also a really calming. So notice too, maybe what points in your day that you feel that anxiousness or you feel that scatteredness, and see if you can invite in that pause, just taking some breaths. Even if you can't close your eyes, so driving, for example, you could hum. If you're at work, can you step outside for a moment, or just go somewhere where you can just pause and bring your hands to your body and feel your feet connecting with the ground, and just take a few moments. It doesn't have to be a long amount of time. You could take literally 1 minute, but if you do that at several points throughout your day, anytime you start to feel that energy, don't just keep pushing through, right? When you start to feel it build, that's the time. Go take a few moments. And what's also coming through is, discharging that energy. So think about the animals when they get scared, then they shake it off. So, what do you do? Maybe go somewhere and you just kind of shake, or you take a breath and, do that heavy sigh, exhale it. So is there something that you need to do to discharge that anxious energy, and then maybe come to that pause and that breath?
Yes, that's a great point. I have also noticed the need for a bit more movement, but it's very like aligned movement is what's kind of coming to mind is not just move all the time, because we are also in that outward, but there are moments where you kind of feel that buildup, and then it's potentially like one time recently I was called to push-ups, and I'm not a fan of push-ups. I really prefer to skip those. And yet I could feel this buildup of energy, and I really noticed this like push-pull sensation between my feet. And so I ended up doing just like 10 push-ups. And afterwards, I could feel like my muscles were like, yep, I'm definitely done with these push-ups. Like that was enough of that. At the same time, there was this relaxation. Like I had been able to discharge the energy, and then I was able to feel into my body, and my body had more of a sense of safety and groundedness after that moment.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. And then one other thing that's coming through here that I've noticed lately, especially with myself, is our energetic boundary. So when your auric, we know there's the auric field around us, right? Biofield measured by science, that energy field that surrounds us. When we are stressed and anxious and on edge, it it weakens our aura. It might be a space where it's not as strong, or it's pulled in instead of expanded out. And so one other thing that can be really helpful with that grounding and centering in, also feeling safe and also not being affected by other people's energy, is to have a strong energy field for yourself. And one way that you can do this, one technique I use, is to imagine at your core star, so kind of above your belly button, the core star, your sacral chakra, your power center, is breathing in there and imagining a golden ball of energy. And each time you breathe in, it expands a little bit, and then you blow it out in all directions. And I imagine it blowing out anybody else's energy, but then surrounding me with this beautiful golden light. And so it's like a kind of like a energetic force field. And then you can set the intention, though, that you still allow any positive loving energies can enter your field, but anything that's not for your highest and best good gets deflected or transmuted through that light.
Beautiful. I love that. So for me, it feels like this week is one, noticing what cues your body is giving you for when you kind of feel that overwhelm or that kind of buildup of energy, or when you're feeling pulled off your center is another way to phrase it. When are you feeling kind of pulled in one direction or another? Are you noticing a lot of energy in your head, or some of the other things that Angela and I mentioned here? Or how is your body communicating with you? And once you notice that, your mission is to then begin to bring yourself back into that grounded and centered state. Are you going to use some breathing, some humming, any things that we've shared here? And for those that are a part of our membership, I'd love to share a couple of additional resources that feel aligned with this podcast episode. And one of the vibrational activations that we have in our membership is called Wisdom Within. And this is to help bring the heart and mind into alignment. And I think this will really help you with, as you strengthen those quiet moments. This is going to help you really connect with the heart and bring that mind into alignment. And really, for me, I see the mind as, let the heart lead, and then the mind is here to help me identify how can I actually implement this in the world. Like, hear the wisdom from the heart, and the mind can help me get together all those pieces and steps that I can take to bring this into reality. So that vibrational activation is called Wisdom Within. If you're a part of our membership, or if you're interested in joining, our membership is $11 a month. You can find the link in the show notes. And we'd also appreciate if you resonated with this conversation today. Is there anyone else that may benefit from this? Maybe you want to invite someone to complete this mission with you. So we would love it if you feel called to share this, or maybe, if you're listening on Substack, give us a heart, or if you want to leave us a review on one of the platforms, we appreciate those as well. Angela, any final things you feel called to share?
So I think that's all perfect. I was just going to add one that came to mind for me is, I think it's called The Power of Presence that we have. I actually just listened to that one the other day. So another activation that might be nice around this topic. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.